welcome to NFL Discussion. I'm your host and NFL enthusiast, Dougie Doug. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing Thursday Night Football, Week 6 of the 2023 NFL season, Denver Broncos versus Kansas City Chiefs. And this was an AFC West showdown that, well, probably didn't have a whole lot of hype behind it because of how the Broncos had played. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, well, they win games, and it doesn't necessarily look pretty. But they do win, and ultimately this game kind of ended up being a bit of a snooze fest. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson completed 13 of 22 passes for 95 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. Wilson also took 4 sacks for 13 yards, resulting in an embarrassing 82 yards in that passing. It was by far his worst performance of a season that has looked better on paper than film. That includes doubling his interception total for the year. Wilson's receivers aren't doing him any favors, save for Cortland Sutton, who had an awesome fourth quarter end zone catch for 6. But Wilson doesn't look any better this season than he did during that disastrous 2022 season. He is playing too slow and comprehensively struggling to find easy gains. He looks like a player in irreversible decline, which is a shame given how much Denver invested in him. Cortland Sutton caught 4 of 6 targets for 46 yards and a touchdown. He also drew a 17-yard DPI in the third quarter, so Sutton was having a pretty quiet night until that touchdown reception, which initially he was ruled down and then replay reversed it, and ultimately that's probably going to be the best catch any Broncos receiver makes all season. Sutton has been scoring, but not doing much else in this in-crisis offense, and I know there's talks of a potential fire sale for the Broncos. They've already traded Randy Gregory. They got Frank Clark to take a pay cut, and he's on his way out. There's talks about Jerry Jeudy being moved, so things aren't looking good in Denver, and this loss I think only is going to, if Denver's looking to make changes, this loss is certainly giving them some fuel. Looking at some main takeaways from the game, Russell Wilson hasn't been playing terrible. Russell Wilson, he's improved, but not by much. And it was this time Wilson. Normally the defense gets blamed for the reason why the Broncos losing, and certainly understandable, especially in that game against the Dolphins. But the defense tried to keep it close in this game. Wilson was the one who ended up having more of a bad game than the defense, and I think if you look at the offense, the strategy and the play calling were just simply ineffective. So does Denver make any moves on their roster coming out of this game? Well, I think yes. Frank Clark, I think we all know that one's happening. But what about Jerry Jeudy? Does he get traded? I think so. Ultimately, the Broncos are pretenders, not contenders, so they're not really going anywhere. Although what Jerry Jeudy might be worth in trade value might have taken a hit because he did not have a very good performance. But yeah, I could see the Broncos parting ways with Jerry Jeudy. I don't know what they would be able to get for him, but I think he would definitely be a valuable addition to another team. Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes completed 30 of 40 passes for 206 yards, 1 touchdown and an interception, added 6 carries for an additional 31 yards, and a rather unsightly game for the Chiefs. Well, they seem to be treating this game more like a scrimmage than an important divisional contest, and Mahomes and company looked like they were just kind of messing around on the field. I mean, it's hard to think you're taking this game seriously when you're having Kadarius Toney do trick plays. But ultimately, the Chiefs won unchallenged beyond a late touchdown and 2-point conversion to cut the Chiefs' lead from 16-0 to 16-8. Mahomes engineered a game-winning field goal drive. Before that, though, he was lucky to escape without his second 2-interception performance in 3 weeks. He threw a first-half pick near the goal line that was just a bad throw, and had another called back by a fairly soft DPI. On the positive side, Mahomes and Kelsey ate up the Broncos' zone defense. Kelsey catching 9 of 9 targets for 124 yards, and Next Gen Stats tweeted in the second half that Kelsey had simply annihilated the Broncos' zone coverage, taking advantage of the cushions for one chunk gain after another. But Taylor Swift, once again in attendance, Kelsey's 124 yards, nearly doubled his previous season high. Now, there was a scary moment in the second half where Kelce appeared to have tweaked his troublesome ankle injury, but he returned after missing the play. As the Twitter doctors put it, he will definitely be sore, but thankfully he has 10 days to rest and rehab. So yeah, that is unfortunate, but thankfully it's a minor ankle injury, and hopefully Kelce can play through it and not aggravate it and make it worse, because without Travis Kelce, the Chiefs' passing offense does not exist, and that's part of the work that Kansas City has to do offensively, is to get the passing game not just run through Travis Kelce. I mean, yes, run through Travis Kelce because he's your best player, but also have other guys do nothing. MVS didn't do anything. Rashid Rice, I've talked about him before in previous NFL discussion episodes. I think over the season, I think he could certainly become that number 2 guy in the offense. But yeah, that's right now. Passing game doesn't really stand out, so still some more work to do offensively. And Andy Reid, well, he made some calls that just did not work out. I talked about the Kadarius Toney trick play, and honestly, I don't really know what they're doing with Toney in this offense, because there's all this talk about how good he is for this offense, but I have yet to see it. Yet to see it. He did not look good in this game, and having him run trick plays. I mean, he had 2 carries for -5 yards and almost threw an interception because he threw it into double coverage. So maybe Andy, let's not call some trick plays for Kadarius Toney. Yeah, maybe let's not do that. And also, if we're going to go for a 4th down, let's maybe not try to do the brotherly shove with the field goal unit. I mean, no disrespect to those guys, but I had no shot. If there's one team that should be doing the brotherly shove, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you want to ban the brotherly shove, then ban every other team but the Eagles from doing it, because no team should be doing that. Nonetheless, the Chiefs get a win. Next week they play the Chargers. The Chargers, a division showdown that should have higher stakes. And with that will conclude this episode of NFL Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.